Hello and welcome to another Learn Python tutorial. In today's tutorial I'm going to show you how you can make a rock, scissor, paper game. So let's get started. If we click on the start button and open up idle, you're going to want Python 3. Doesn't matter if it's 32-bit or 64-bit or 3.6, 3.4, 3.1, it really doesn't matter as long as you're on Python 3. You don't even need to use idle if you're using a different interpreter, but this is the one I'm going to use. It should work on any as long as it's Python 3. And we're going to create ourselves a new file. Once you've created yourself a new file, I want you to save it as, let's save it as rock, paper, scissors. There we go. .py. We'll save it to the desktop. So save it as rock, scissor, paper.py. Save it to the desktop. Excellent. Good. Now, rock, scissor, paper. The first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to have a game. We're going to create a game where it's got five rounds, and each time round, depending on whether the user wins or the computer wins, you're going to increase the score of either the user's score or the computer score. But you can't increase the score until you've created a score variable. So at the start of the game, the user score equals 0, and the computer score, I could type in computer score, but I'm being a bit lazy today, all good programmers are, and I'm going to do comp score instead. So at the start of the game, the user score is 0, and the computer score is 0 as well. There we go. I've done this in camel case, if you notice there. Camel case just means any variable you've got, you start it off with a lowercase, but if it's multiple words, like comp score, then you capitalize the first letter of each subsequent word. So there's user score, there's a computer score, which is good. We're also going to need to, first of all, we're going to need to ask the user for their option. So let's say user choice equals input. We'll just use the input function to get some input from the user. What do you pick? There we go. And what we'll do here is we'll do rock, paper, scissors. Question mark. There you go. So we're going to ask the user what they pick. And if we just run that now, we should see that it works over here in the right hand side. Yes, let's save it. What do you pick? Rock, scissors, paper. And I'm going to pick rock. There you go. And it should have saved the user choice to rock. There you go. Good. Excellent. So there we go. So we've got the user's choice, rock, scissors, or paper, which is good. Now we need to get the computer's choice. Well, how does the computer do it? Well, in order to for the computer to pick a random option, you're going to need to use the random module. But we can't use the random module until we've imported it. So let's import random. Up at the top there, it's always good practice to put all your imports at the top. That's generally where they belong. It doesn't matter. You could import it here if you wanted, but it's bad practice. If you want to be a pro, you've got to learn like the pros. So there you do it like the pros. So there you go. So import random. Python has loads of modules, hundreds or thousands, I think. And all those modules, if you loaded all of those modules whenever Python started, first of all, it'd take ages to load Python. And second of all, it would run incredibly slowly. And there'd be other problems as well. So we don't do that. What we do is we have this little way here where you can import them as you need them, just for the programs you need, which keeps Python nice and quick, which is good. There you go. So random choice, but so we're going to need to pick a random choice from 3 options. So in order to create those 3 options, we need to create a list, and let's call them choices. And we'll do a list, which is the square brackets there, and let's do R or P or S. There we go, for rock, paper or scissors. Good. There we go. And what we can do now is we can do comp choice. Should do computer choice really, but that's okay. And we can use the random.choice method there, or function, which one it is. And we'll get a choice from the choices, just like that. So now we should have 2 choices, a user choice and a computer choice. Let's have a look. Let's run that. So I'll pick rock. I'll just do R. And now if we do user choice, R, good stuff. Comp choice, P. Okay, good. So we've got both of those choices. Now what we need to do is we need to compare them to find out who's won that round. Now that's really easy in Python. You can just use equal to. So we could say, if we did like user choice equals comp choice here, it should say false because those two are different. There you go, false. Excellent. So we can use that. And what we can say is, okay, if the user choice equals comp choice, there we go, then we can print draw. Because that particular round is a draw. If they pick the same option, neither user wins, which is good. What we also want to happen there is we want the programmer to wait for a second or so. We don't want it to move straight back onto the next bit. We want it to wait. And the way we could do that is we'll use the time module. It's a nice little fun module. I love using this in my programs. And we'll just do a time.sleep and we'll make it sleep for 1 second. So if the user choice is the same as the computer choice, we print draw and then we wait a second. And then we're going to do it all over again. I'm going to show you how we can do that efficiently. But let's just run that again. Let's just see if that works. So, there we go. What do you pick? Let's do rock. There you go. Now it didn't say anything, which means that the computer choice must be something different, which it is. There you go. So now what we need to do is we need to do the other options. But before we do all the other options, there's one little thing that might go wrong. Here, the problem is I'm asking them to pick rock, paper, or scissors, and because I haven't told the user might pick any of a number of different options. The user might pick, they might type in rock, or they might type in R, or they might type in rock, or you can see, or there's all sorts of different options. So, and here, if you did, for instance, here, like rock equals R from what so let's say the user typed in capital rock, all in uppercase, but the choice for the computer choice they picked R, they're not the same. Whereas your program needs to really treat them as the same. So we've got a problem. First of all, we only want to compare the first letter. And second of all, we only want all of it. We want that that first letter to be in lowercase to match the lowercase here in your choices. So how do we do that? Well, what we can do is we can say there's our rock, and we can say, okay, go and get the first letter, which computers start counting at 0, or Python does. So we say go and get the 0th letter, which is the first letter, and then let's make it lowercase. And now hopefully, there you go. So we can use this clever little thing. So how does that work? Well, what we do here is we just change that. We say go get the first letter, and let's convert it to lowercase. Good. Now let's move on to the next one. So what are our other options? Well, let's do an elif because it means otherwise if. What about if our user choice equals R for rock, and the computer choice equals scissors? So who wins? Well, rock beats scissors, so print the user wins. Oops. User wins this round. There you go. And then we'll sleep. There you go. So that's okay, so we could do it like that. What I'd like you to do now, if you want to, you can pause the video and try and do them for the other ones, which is scissors, R, rock, paper, oops, paper, scissors, paper, rock. I think that might be it. Maybe rock, paper as well. Yeah, rock, paper. So try and do all these elifs for the other ones and work out who's won each bit. So if you pause it now, do that, and then I'm going to carry on typing it now. Okay, let's go. So here we go. So if the user choice, if I could just copy that, can't I? There we are. There we go. Let's do it the other way around. So let's say if the user's choice is rock and they want the scissors, or the user's choice is scissors and the computer's choice is paper, then we win that as well. Print user wins. What else is this? So Elif. Do this again. Whoops. There we go. Keep going. We'll paste that again. Let's make sure we got all of these options. There should be 6 options in total, I should think. So if they're the same, rock, scissors, scissors, paper, paper, scissors. That's the computer. Paper, rock, and then scissors, rock. There we go. In fact, I'll put that. Let's just put these here. Let's have a look. So, rock, scissors. Oh, what about rock, paper as well, actually? Rock, paper. So, rock, paper, which means the rock, paper, the paper wins, so the computer wins. Let's have a look. Scissors and paper, cuts of paper, so the user wins. Scissors and rock, the computer wins. Paper and scissors, the computer wins again. And then paper and rock, the user wins again. So here we are. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different options in total, or at least 7 correct options, because there could be some incorrect options we'll talk about in a minute. So what have we got? We've got at the moment, this should now pretty much work. Let's have a look. Delete those bits. Let's try running this. Let's see if this works. So now, if we pick rock, the user wins this round. Good. Now, what I would do here at the moment is you don't know actually if that's correct, because we don't know here whether the computer is picking scissors or paper, which one it's picking. So what I would probably do here is just do, for debugging for the moment, let's just print computer chose. There we go. And then comp choice. You could remove this later on. And what this will do is, in fact, we'll put that here, get rid of that. Put it there before we do if statements. There we go, computer shows. That way, we can debug our program, make sure it is running correctly. So let's just try that now. Let's try running that. So if we put rock, the computer shows rock, so it's a draw. Good, let's run it again. Paper, let's have a look. Paper, the computer shows rock, so the user wins. So that looks like it's working. I'd give that a few tests to make sure it's working properly. But I'm just going to go along with it for the moment. So there you go. So we've got it checking. It now knows who's won. What we need to do now, though, is we need to say, okay, if the user has won this round, then what we need to do is we need to increase their user score by 1. So how do we do that? Well, all we do is we do user score equals user score plus 1. There you go. So any of them where there is a user score, which is there, just increase the user score by 1. And anywhere where the computer wins, which is here, we will increase the computer score equals comp score plus 1. So that's going to increase the computer score by 1. And that's there. And that's there. So there we go. So now you've got 7 different options. In 6 of those options, it either increases the user score or the computer score by 1. And we can see this now if we run the module again. Let's see if this works. Let's pick paper. There you go. So the user wins this round. So now the user score should be 1. There you go. User score is 1 and the computer score is 0. Brilliant. There you go. Good. Now, what we need to do though is we need to make all of this bit there, ask them a choice, get a computer choice, and do all of this adding bit here. We need to do that. We need to do that 5 times. Actually, before we do that, let me just talk about one more thing. There's one other outcome here. They could have typed the same one there or all of these ones. But what if the user, now, if you run it, what if I type some gobbledygook like that? Is that going to work? Well, no. Because it doesn't know. There you go. It doesn't know who's won. Because neither of you won, because you've not put a valid answer in. So what we need to do here is we need to say, okay, print invalid answer. Try again. There we go. Good. So, invalid answer, try again. There you go. So now, if you type something that's invalid, when we run it, let's have a look. It says invalid answer, try again, which is good. And that's really useful in your if statements, and else. And that's a catch-all. So what it means is it will try and do this, try and do this, try and do this, this, and this. If all of those if and elif statements fail, and it hasn't managed to achieve any of those, then it will just do this catch-all else and just say, no, no good, try again. Good. Now, how are we going to move on from here? Well, at the moment, we've got 1 round working, and we need to make 5 rounds working. 5 rounds work. So what we could do is we could just take this code, and we could just paste it, and then paste it, and then paste it, and then paste it, and paste it 5 times. There you go. 5 lots of code. You could do that, but that's quite inefficient. And also, if something does go wrong, and you have coded something wrong, you're going to have to change 5 lots of code. So we don't really want to be doing that. Instead of that, what we need to be doing, let's just delete all of those. Whoops. There you go. Instead of that, really, what we want to do is we want to repeat all of this bit of code. So how do we do that? Well, nice and easy. What we're going to use is we're going to use a loop. And we'll do a while true loop for this one, and you'll find out in a minute why. So what we do at the start here, we'll put while true. And we'll indent all of this code. We're indenting the code because we want all of this code to be inside of our loop. Now, a while true loop is an infinite loop. So this will keep repeating forever, which is okay. But we've got a problem because we don't want it to repeat forever. We only want it to repeat really until you get through all 5 rounds. So how do we do that? Well, the way we do that is we just keep track of what round we are on. So at the start of the game, we're on round 1. Each time round here, each time round, 1, 2, 3, 4, those bits here, if, there we go. If, oh, where are we at here? That's okay. There we go. Each time round, after we've done the scoring and added to the score, we want to increase the round by 1. And then we want to say is, okay, if the round equals 5, or, well, is it equals 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it'd be if the round equals 6, because then by that point, it's finished. Then we need to break out of the loop. So, let's show you how we do that. Well, what we do here is we say, okay, round plus equal. Oh, so round equals. Ah, okay. I've made a slight problem there. I've made it right. You're not allowed to use round. Okay, the reason being is that round is an inbuilt function. Let me show you round. You can see what round does. If we round 4.5, it actually rounds it down. There are certain words in Python, there's only a few of them, and I've managed to stumble on one that you're not allowed to use. So we can't use round. Instead, what we'll use is rund equals 1. So rund is going to stand for round because we're not allowed to use the word round. So start the round at 1. Round equals round plus 1 at the end of it, at the end of your loop. And then we can say here, did it wrong again. Rund equals rund plus 1. If rund equals 6, in other words, we've gone past round 5, then we'll just break. And that will break out of the loop. So what we're hoping to do here is, okay, here's our loop. We go through here, and in fact, should we print round 1 actually? Let's print round. There you go. It'll now print what round it's on. So there's our print round, and that should print what round number we're on. And then if we get to 6, by the end of it, we can, here, it will break out of the loop there at the end. And maybe we want to say users, print user 1, user wins, and then user score, and then here we are, comp wins. Score. There you go. So at the end of the whole game, we can print how many rounds the users won and how many rounds the computer has won. So let's see if that works now. We should be getting somewhere near. In fact, let's just put that on full screen so we've got our full program there so we can see it all. There we go. So we're getting a bit big now. So we should be getting somewhere near. There will probably still be some errors in there. We're going to find those in a minute. But let's try that now. Run module. Okay, there you go. So here we are down here. What do you pick? Rock, scissors, or paper? I'm going to pick rock. There you go. So computer chose, let's have a look. So who won that? Oh, draw. So round 2. There we go. And let's do scissors. There we go. Round, I win. Let's do paper. User wins this round. Round 4, scissors. Draw. Round 5, paper, and there you go. So after round 5, it gets to round equals 6, breaks out of the loop, and it says the users won 3, and the users won 3. Let's have a look. User wins, user wins, user wins. So yes, that's perfect. So we're almost there. There are a couple of problems though. Let me show you the first one. Well, first of all, let me just show you this here. If it is a draw, surely if it's a draw, you don't want to go on to the next round. You want to keep repeating it until one of the 2 players wins. You don't want to draw around. So how do we do that? Well, what we want to say here is, okay, if it is a draw, we don't want to carry on after this if statement and go here and increase the round. We just want to go back up to the top of the loop. We want to continue to the next iteration of the loop. And the way we do that is nice and simple. We just put a continue there. So this time round now, if they get the same, it doesn't go on to the next round, it just starts the loop again, continue. And the same we want to do as well, the same here for if they put in an invalid answer. We just want to continue until the next iteration of the loop. So now, hopefully, with 2 little extra words, let's have a look. If we put, if I just press enter, oops. Okay. So I found a little bug in my program. A string index out of the range. The reason you'll notice it did that is because I didn't type in anything at all. I just typed in an empty space, and it got really confused because I typed in an empty. So I just pressed enter, so there was nothing there. And then on this next line here, it tries to get the first letter of what I've typed. But of course, I haven't typed in anything. So what we need to do here is just put a little bit of code. Okay, if the length of what I've just typed in, user choice, if the length of the user choice equals 0, so I haven't typed anything in, then what we'll do is we'll print, let's just print invalid answer. Try again. There we go. And we'll continue again. In fact, well, we will continue, but let's just put a time.sleep in there as well. Time.sleep 1. There you go. So this here is a separate, just a little separate one here that says, okay, before we do all that, just check that they've put something at all in. Let's try that again. So run module. So what do you pick? Let's try pressing enter. Invalid answer. Try again. Again, we're still on round 1. Let's try rock. In fact, let's try some gobbledygook. Excellent. It's still on round 1. And now let's try an actual answer. User wins. User wins. Draw. And it's still on round 3. Good. Compute. Draw. User wins. I'm doing really well here. There we go. Round 5, scissors, draw. There you go. So I've won all of those so far. That's quite lucky. Let's just run that again. Let's make sure that is actually working properly. And you can see I won 5. The computer hasn't won any. I'm a little bit suspicious that might not be right. So let's just have a look. Hey, that's okay. No, it is right. You can see the computer has won that particular round, which is good. That's all okay. We're all working fine there. Let's just see if we can get through to round 5, and we'll talk about one last thing to do before we finish. There you go. So here we go. There's our end. User wins 4, computer wins 1. So what we need to do here is, at the end here, we need to say something like who's won overall. So this is actually really quite easy. We can say, okay, if the user score is greater than the comp score, computer score, then print the user wins. The user wins the game. Otherwise, if the computer score is greater than the user score, the computer wins the game. And then the only other option, if the user's not got a greater score than the computer's not got a greater score than the user, it must mean that it is a draw. There we go. Brilliant. And that's it. That's pretty much the game done. Let's make sure that works. That's all done. Can I make that fit? Probably won't fit, but you can see the code there. Let's run that. Let's see if this works. So if I go to rock, computer chose scissors, so the user wins. Let's choose rock again. Computer chose scissors again, so the user wins. Let's try paper. The computer wins. Paper. The user wins. Hey, there you go. So that works fine. The user wins 4. Computer wins 1. And the user wins the game. There you go. So there is a nice and simple rock, scissor, paper game that shows you some of the basics, how to use a simple while loop, how to use if statements, and a few bits and bats. If you like the tutorials, please do like them on YouTube. And if you subscribe to my channel, I'll add more videos as we go along, plenty more videos. Thank you very much.